countries, OPEC confirms conformity with November-December 2025 production data. Oil prices fail. Can we start this, please? It's a live program. So, Babani script, ba? Okay, can we? International Monetary Fund (IMF) ranks Nigeria among 10 top contributors to global GDP growth. Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries (OPEC) confirms conformity with November-December 2025 production data. Oil prices fall by 3% on U.S.-Iran de-escalation. Asia stocks trade mixed ahead of China manufacturing data. Today, we shall be taking a look at takeaways from President Tinubu's visit to Turkey. The program is Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Musa Abubakar. You got. And a report from the International Monetary Fund (IMF) has listed 10 countries, including India and Nigeria, among the top contributors to global economic growth for 2026. While the IMF data placed Nigeria at number 6 with a projected 1.5% real GDP growth, India was ranked ahead of the United States of America as number 2 with 17% growth. According to the IMF data, Nigeria is projected to contribute 1.5% to global real GDP growth in 2026, thus placing one of Africa's economies ahead of several advanced and emerging economies, including Germany, Brazil, and Indonesia. Nigeria's 1.5% share exceeds most European nations combined. China is expected to remain the largest contributor to global growth, accounting for 26.6%, followed by India with 17%. The United States ranks third at 9.9%. A total of 1.969 trillion naira has been shared to the federal, states, and local government councils as December 2025 Federation account revenue. The revenue was shared at the January 2026 Federation Account Allocation Committee meeting held in Abuja According to the Director of Press and Public Relations Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, Bawa Mokwa, the 1.969 trillion naira total distributable revenue comprised distributable statutory revenue of 1.084 trillion naira, distributable value-added tax revenue of 846.507 billion naira, electronic money transfer levy revenue of 38.110 billion naira. A communique issued by the Federation Account Allocation Committee indicated that total gross revenue of 2.585 trillion naira was available in the month of December 2025. Total deduction for cost of collection was 104.697 billion naira, while total transfers, refunds and savings was 511.585 billion naira. According to the communique, gross statutory revenue of 1.631 trillion naira was received for the month of December 2025. This was lower than the sum of 1.736 trillion naira received in the month of November 2025 by 105.202 billion naira. Gross revenue of 913.957 billion naira was available from the value-added tax in December 2025. This was higher than the 563.042 billion naira available in the month of November 2025 by 350.915 billion naira. The communique stated that from the 1.969 trillion naira total distributable revenue, the federal government received total sum of 653.50 billion naira, and the state government received a total sum of 706.469 billion naira. The local government councils received 513.272 billion naira, while the sum of 96.083 billion naira, that's 13% of mineral revenue, was shared to the benefiting state as derivation revenue. On the 1.084 trillion naira distributable statutory revenue, the communique stated that the federal government received 520.807 billion naira and the state governments received 264.160 billion naira. The local government councils received 203.656 billion naira, and the sum of 96.083 billion naira was shared as derivation revenue. And now let's see how much that is changing for other currencies. Now, Nigeria is broadening its foreign policy by expanding relationships, particularly with Turkey, with focus on security, trade, and strategic cooperation. And to do justice on how the visit will strengthen Nigeria's security and trade ties is an economist, Yusho Aliu. You're welcome to Business Express.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Musa.
Now, before we go into the day's discussion proper, the International Monetary Fund has ranked Nigeria among 10 top contributors to global GDP growth. What, in your own opinion, does this mean for the Nigerian economy?
It means that there is a serious improvement in terms of investment in Nigeria and in terms of the capacity of the economy to harness a lot of resources, which is also giving it some international concern.
So what does this mean for the ordinary Nigerian? What's the picture?
No, the ordinary Nigerian always is busy with fundamental economic problems of what to eat, how to be educated, and how to have a good health facility. That has been a different factor, but the whole factor which individuals should understand is that prior to this ranking by the IMF, Nigeria does not possess the biggest refinery in the nation that is working. Today, that refinery is contributing, and will continue to contribute to the growth of energy sector in the world, and also the service sector. Look at what the communication industry is doing, and look at how digitalization is doing. And also you have to look at other economic endeavors that is within the economy. These are some of the things that you cannot deny it. The large population requires large real estate. Or which country in Africa you can compare with Nigeria in terms of development of real estate? What type of economy in Africa you can contribute to the development of agriculture? These are some of the fundamental strides that is yielding results that has made Nigeria to be part of the world ranking. Now, even if before we now go into analyzing some of the advantages of relationship between Nigeria and Turkey, you have to understand that even by world ranking, the emerging economy, Nigeria is number 11th in the world, while Turkey as a nation is number 16 in the world. So when you correlate this...
Nigeria in Africa is even the fourth economy.
No, Nigeria, by emerging economy ranking, Nigeria is the first. And that is why I am not surprised that IMF is making Nigeria to be the 10th.
No, I mean in terms of GDP in Africa, Nigeria is the fourth.
Yeah, it's fourth, but it depends on the model that is being used. For instance, if you take the investment profile of South Africa, you cannot compare it to the investment profile of Nigeria. If you take the large contribution of education in Africa, you cannot compare South Africa with Nigeria. The same thing with energy, the same thing with communication. Even the MTN that has origin from South Africa is getting all the leverages in Nigeria here.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, this report places, well, we talked about that actually. And now to our discussion actually. Recently we have seen diplomatic relations, both diplomatic and bilateral relations with Turkey. What does this imply for the country and the economy?
It's a good attempt by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to link Nigeria to a non-aligned member. Remember that in the whole global economy, there are things that tie countries together, one of which is regional economic effort and also international economic effort. Nigeria has been under the Non-Proliferation Treaty. Nigeria is a member of non-aligned movement, and Turkey also is a member of non-aligned movement. Despite the fact that Turkey was earlier in 1961, Nigeria, after independence in 1964, also became a member. So when you put this together and you now look at the latest prospect of cooperation, economic cooperation in the world, Nigeria has applied to be a partner with BRICS. And the same thing applies to Turkey. Turkey has also applied in 2024, Nigeria applied in 2024 to be partners in BRICS partnership. And that big partnership is going to change the scenario of trade, is going to change the scenario of international cooperation, and it's also going to change the narrations as far as production is concerned. So the Bola Tinubu administration attempt to visit Turkey is in good intention, and I welcome it personally. And I'm also very happy that, look, in 2020, when we went to buy a transformer, and I discovered that the transformer, electric transformer, is produced by Turkey. And I said, look, so we have gone to this level. Turkey is producing this massive electronic gadget for electrical distribution. Then there is need for Nigeria to tap this development, because we have the potential, we have the resources, and we have both the human and capital resources to put our head together so that we can bring out mutual benefit in this relationship.
Now, the visit marks President Tinubu's first official visit to Turkey, following Erdogan's visit to Nigeria in October 2021, which is to somehow consolidate long-standing cordial relationships, and explore new avenues for mutual beneficial cooperation. Now, all that, aside all that, what other areas calls for collaborations?
The investment aspect, because the Turkish investors have tested the Nigerian investment atmosphere, especially those that are in education, have invested heavily. So we want to expand that cooperation, and by expanding the cooperation, that also has to include technology transfer, so that the benefit the Turkish is enjoying in terms of superiority of investment in energy, Nigeria can have similar options which can help to produce technicians, engineers, as well as entrepreneurs who can manage efficiently the investment in the energy. And I'm also happy to stress that. I'm happy with what is going around, that the former Zamfara State Governor was able to purchase the Geregu plant. So these are things that definitely we need to learn to partner, so that we can make it more efficient, so that the energy requirement for the industrialization need of Nigeria is achieved. Especially the president has already extended a hand to the Germans via Siemens. So now we can extend hand in the production of this electrical distributions mechanism, which can influence and give positive value to our investment in energy.
Now, a business forum that will connect Nigerian and Turkish investors, which will unlock opportunities for economic growth, is expected to follow in coming days. What are your thoughts on this?
My thoughts has to do directly with the ambition of the government. The government has an ambition of having $1 trillion economy. The Turkish economy is already above $1 trillion economy. So if you take the two and we look at the parameters used by the Turkish, we can borrow some, so that our target not only by the monetary authorities, that is by putting the capitalization effort, but also to put the capacity that we need to improve, especially where Turkey is having an advantage, and that is energy. Energy and investment in energy, Turkey is ahead of Nigeria, and I think in the near future we expect to see more collaboration, but the collaboration should be national, not just to be centralized in a particular zone of the country, but also to have a national look, because in every special production zone of Nigeria, there are potentials that are necessary for collaborations, which can improve efficiency, which can also improve the life of GDP of Nigeria, and also sustain our effort to having a $1 trillion economy by 2030.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Yusho Ali. It's always a pleasure having you in the program.
Thank you very much.
Well, we'll now head to NGX week ended, where Olayinka is standing by to give us the details.
The NGX All-Share Index depreciated by 0.09%, while the market capitalization appreciated by 0.18% to close the week at 165,370.40 basis points and 106.153 trillion naira. A total turnover of 3.087 billion shares worth 81.505 billion naira in 222,185 deals were traded by investors on the floor of the exchange. The financial services industry led the activity chart with 1.495 billion shares valued at 33.923 billion naira in 83,939 deals. The services industry followed with 443.222 million shares worth 4.936 billion naira in 17,615 deals. The third place, the ICT industry, had a turnover of 279.520 million shares worth 443 billion naira in 24,552 deals. Trading in the top three equities, Veritas Capital Assurance PLC, Cortex PLC, and Secure Electronics Technology PLC accounted for 513.382 million shares worth 1.139 billion naira in 4,895 deals, contributing 16.63% and 1.40% to the total equity turnover in volume and value. A total of 2.620 million units of exchange-traded products valued at 784.230 million naira were traded in 4,396 deals. For bonds, a total of 91,005 units valued at 90.685 million naira were traded in 42 deals. On summary of price changes, 44 equities appreciated in price, 49 equities depreciated, while 55 equities remained unchanged. Olayinka Ojo for Business Express.
Now let's head to global stock market, where Asia stocks trade mixed ahead of China manufacturing data. Maria Zakari is standing by with global stocks market update. It's over to you, Maria.
Thank you, Musa. Markets across the globe are given a bearish feel to start the week. European stocks started the trading week in positive territory as concerns over artificial intelligence and volatility in precious metals haunted global markets. Germany's DAX added 0.81%. FTSE of the UK was up 0.60%. The French CAC was higher at 0.55%. Over to Asia, markets fell this Monday with South Korean benchmarks leading declines. Investors are assessing China's factory activity for January. Nikkei 225 of Japan dropped 1.25% at 52,655. Shanghai Composite of mainland China dropped 2.48%, leading losses in the region. And we have Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index down 2.23% at 26,775. Over in the U.S., stock futures are lower as Wall Street begins a new month of trading, with traders keeping an eye on Bitcoin after a weekend sell-off. The Dow slipped 0.05%. We have S&P 500 following in red at 0.31%, and Nasdaq Composite reflects at 0.56%. Now to Africa, which started the trading week mostly bearish. We have South Africa JSE top 40 on the losing side at 0.95%. Tunisia Tun Index followed at 0.31%. Namibia All Share Index mirrors the figures at 0.26%. Ghana was flat. On the opposing side, we have Kenya, which was up 0.86%. That's global market for Monday. I am Maria Aduzakari. It's back to Musa.
Thank you, Maria, for that update. Well, this is where we end today's edition of Business Express. We value your feedback, so keep the comments and observations coming. And be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on NTS channel. Business Express returns on Tuesday by 9:30 a.m. I am Musa Bakar. Thanks for watching.